Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to do a DIY Dollar Tree super easy Easter pillow sham. We're just going to use a chair cover from the Dollar Tree. Hopefully you'll be able to find it at your store, and then we're just going to use glue and as well as our scissor. Our gluing device as well as our cutting device. It's just that simple. So the first thing you need to do is to find a pillow. The pillow sham we're going to create is removable so that you could just use couch pillows and you can store it away conveniently for the holiday season and then just pull them back out next Easter. Okay. What I really did like about this, honestly, it's not the best quality felt, but it really is made really nicely. It's the ear material, the paint job, it's all really, really nice. So basically what I'm doing is I've turned it inside out, and then I'm measuring my pillow. My pillow happens to be 16 inches finished. It's supposed to be 16 inches, so I guess anyway, I'm going to make a 16-inch pillow sham. But I don't know that you could really make one much bigger than that, to be honest with you, for this for this chair cover. But you could get other pillowcases from the Dollar Tree and maybe cut the bunny face out and glue it onto a different pillowcase if you have a bigger pillow that you want to cover. But that one is just a little throw pillow here in the office, and it's perfect, absolutely perfect size. Okay, so since I know this needs to be 16 inches, I've taken my ruler, and in the 8-inch mark I've kind of balanced his face. His face isn't printed perfectly square on this pillow sham, so I'm going to use his face as a guide for left and right and even. So I've taken the 8-inch mark and I've put it right on the edge of his nose where the peak meets his mouth, and I've made sure I've balanced his cheek so I have enough of each cheek even on both sides of the ruler, and that's how I've determined where center was. And then I have a perpendicular line to the Easter bunny, and then I've measured, made a mark at 16 and 16.5 inches, and then I've made a mark at 1 and then went over another 1/2 inch to make a mark at that 1/2 inch, and that's what we're going to use for our seam allowance. It's just going to make it easier. I have a dry erase chalk marker, sure it is. I have a dry erase marker here that I'm using. It didn't bleed on my fabric, so you want to make sure that you go ahead and use something. You could just probably use a pencil, but you guys know I always try to make the lines some way you can see them on the camera. All right, and I've done that on the left and right. Again, I've taken 2 markings, so I've also then moved it up to the bottom of his ears to make sure that the ruler is level, and I've done the same markings. Drawn the straight lines, I've basically connected. I've drawn all the straight lines. And now using those straight lines, I'm going to measure the 16 inches. So what I'm doing is I want to make sure that the pillow sham goes above his ears and below his chin. So I've marked how I can, basically I've marked my 16 inches there, and then I've gone and drawn a straight line. So now if you can see, hold on, let me turn it. If you can see right there in the corner, the corner doesn't square up at the top, and that's okay, because it's a pillow sham, so it doesn't have to be perfect, 100% perfect. But if yours is bigger, than that, you want to, it's okay if you get to 16 inches and the corners are cut off the tops of the chairs. That's all I was trying to say. All right. So what I've done is I've marked the bottom as well and done the same thing, drawing a straight line, and then the 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then I want to cut it out. I want to cut it out, I'm going to cut both pieces. Start over. I'm going to cut the width of both pieces the same. I'm going to cut the sides both at the same time. That's what I was trying to say. Now I'm going to cut the top at the same time because the edge is rounded off, so I don't have a lot of material over at the top. However, when it comes to cutting the bottom off, I'm going to just cut the front, because I want the back to be longer, and we'll explain why in a second. So just following the 1/2 inch seam allowance, I'm cutting off all that extra, leaving the 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm cutting all that extra material, and now I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to leave the back long. But before I cut the front the bottom portion, excuse me, I need to remove the stitches that are holding the corners together. Because we didn't cut the corners, because like I said, the corners didn't quite make it to a square. It's still sewn up there, so we're just going to go ahead. This is so easy. They do have very, very wide stitches, which is nice, and it comes off real easy. I just took a tiny edge of my scissor, I clipped a couple of the threads, and then I was able to pull it apart. Alright, and now that it's separated at the top, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut the bottom. What we're going to do is we're just going to cut the bottom of the face portion of the fabric. I guess that would be the front of the pillowcase. I don't know exactly, but we're just going to cut the front because we want the extra material to be on the back, and I'll share that with you in a second. So what we did was we removed the back off, and now we're going to fold it in half. So if you notice, there's a nice finished edge. We want to go ahead and make sure that we keep that finished edge so we don't have to do any extra gluing. We folded the piece of remaining fabric in half, so it's only about an extra inch or so longer than the front, but that's fine. And then we're going to go ahead and make, this is how we're going to create the sham portion of the pillow sham. All right, and we're going to utilize that nice finished edge so that we don't have to worry about any, you know, it looks nice back there. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay the fabric right sides together, and then we're going to put the half with the finished edge towards the middle. We're going to lay that half down first, and we're going to match the cut edges on the bottom, and then we're going to take the other half that's the cut edges at the top with the corners there, and we're going to lay that over. So basically what it looks like is the bunny facing up, then the first piece matched towards the bottom is the finished edge piece with the finished edge towards the middle, and then the other piece on top of it. All right, and even though we drew the seam allowances on the wrong side of the material, you can see through that I can see through it anyway. I could see through very, very nicely. And then so I know exactly where to put my glue line down. So if you saw what I did, I just pulled back the top piece of fabric, I laid the strip of glue onto the pen line, and I went ahead and folded the piece of fabric back over it, so I can get that nice clean edge. Now I will tell you, I don't know how the material got moved, and then I was like trying to fix it, because then it took away about a 1/4 inch of extra material, but it ended up working out okay. So I don't want you to panic like I did. So what I decided to do was to just do all the straight lines, basically not the diagonal lines, all of the horizontal and vertical lines first. And what you need to do there is you need to glue almost all the way of that top layer of fabric, almost all the way till you get to the underside piece of fabric. I just pull it back, I glue almost the whole way, and then I lay it back down. And then what I do is I pulled the fabric back from the top, and then I pulled back that finished piece of fabric, laid a strip of glue down, pulled the finished piece of fabric back over, and then added some more glue onto the top of that, and then laid the top piece of fabric over it. I know this might sound complicated, but it really does look simple. Hopefully you guys can follow along pretty easy, because there is really just nothing but gluing straight lines, cutting straight lines and gluing straight lines. I think the prep of measuring, you know, math, the prep of measuring and cutting is probably what makes it just look that much nicer, that much of more finished, I don't want to say professional, but more finished looking as well. So then we're going to go and do that last seam on the bottom, and then we'll go back to the corners and we'll see if there's any holes where our two lines intersected. If they didn't quite make it up there, we'll just seal up any hole that we have remaining. It ended up making a square corner for me with the glue and the seam allowance, okay? And then once your glue is cool, and you really want to make sure your glue is cooled off before you flip it, because you don't want to stretch the glue or whatever, you just very delicately turn it right sides out. You know, we've always done the thing where you take something and poke it in the corners to make nice sharp corners, but I'm just using my finger. I'm not getting crazy with this thing. All right, and then you'll see once you have it all turned right side out, you'll see how it's a really nice finished looking pillow sham. And to stuff a pillow sham, you always do the side that doesn't have the flap first, and then do the flap side second, and then you can close it up in the back. And you can see with this really nice full pillow, it still was able to close over. And that's it. So I hope you really like this. I do too. I want to go get another one and make another one. I hope you really enjoy this tutorial. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. I hope you can find these chair covers if you like it. If you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And don't forget to share with friends and family, anybody who might be interested in making one of these. And as always, take care. God bless. See you next time. Bye.